Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's Cone, and we might be in for one of the greatest MVP races of all time this season. And this is coming from a guy who before the year was kind of just like, it's probably going to be Shai and Jokic, and I don't know if any of these other dark horse candidates can match their combined statistical production and team success. But early on in the year, we're kind of witnessing some of that. Right now, there are just ridiculous levels of play from so many of the top guys across the league, but especially who I consider to be the top 5 in basketball. And I want to talk about what all those guys have been doing so far, why some of it might be sustainable and lead to an all-time MVP race, regardless of what I thought before the season. I'm already ready to admit that I was wrong. It still could come down to Shai and Jokic, but other guys are very well going to be in the mix. And one of those players is Giannis Antetokounmpo, who before the year, a lot of people started to kind of hop on the train of, I could see Giannis winning MVP. And I didn't think he couldn't win it again because of his level of play. I knew Giannis was going to be ridiculous. I said he was going to be the scoring leader, but I wasn't sure if the Bucks were going to be successful enough in the Eastern Conference, get a high enough seed to ultimately have Giannis win the award over guys like Shai and Jokic. But right now, the Bucks are 3-1, and they haven't played the toughest schedule in the world. They've beaten the Raptors, the Wizards, and the Knicks, and lost the Cavaliers, although the win over the Knicks was pretty impressive. And just in general, I've liked the way that the shooters have looked around Giannis. Ryan Rollins has been awesome. They haven't even gotten that great of play from Miles Turner yet. The defense has been impressing me. I like what I'm seeing from the Bucks, but more specifically from Giannis, who has taken it to an all-new level. So far, it is only 4 games, but he's averaging 36.3 points, just under 70% shooting, with 14 boards, 7 rebounds, just over a block, just under a steal per game, 57% from 3. And listen, it's on 7 attempts so far this season, but he's shooting it with confidence. That mid-range jumper is falling. I felt like last year he took a bit of a step back on defense, but this year he has been ridiculous on that end as well. Giannis looks like maybe the best player in the world right now. He is dominating at an unprecedented level for even a guy in him who is one of the best players to ever play the game. And that combined with the fact that a few of the teams I was pretty high on in the East that have looked not that great so far, like the Hawks and the Magic, and even the Knicks have been underwhelmed after thinking they could get a 1 seed this season. Maybe the Bucks are going to be higher in the East than I thought. I thought they'd be like a 6 seed, a 7 seed, maybe even up to a 5, but felt like they probably had to get like top 3, top 4 to have Giannis win the award. But I mean, with the way he's playing right now, the way guys are shooting, maybe they do end up getting to that point. Giannis just able to backpack them enough and they get a top 3 seed. And then suddenly Giannis with these numbers, like how do you not give him the award after the perception surrounding the Bucks and him that coming into the season, it was kind of a given this was his last year with Milwaukee, and it might still end up being they could flame out in the playoffs. Like all those narratives are still present, but if he's able to, in spite of all the slander sent towards the Bucks roster, me included, drag them to that level of play to a top 3-4 seed with these numbers, I think immediately he thrusts himself to the forefront of the MVP conversation, or at least theoretically he would. But you've also got a bunch of other guys putting up these historic numbers too. I want to talk about Victor Wembanyama. Coming into the season, I talked with a few people that were like, I could see Wemby winning MVP this year and becoming the youngest MVP ever. And I already coming into the season was a big fan of his. I thought he was top 5 in the league coming into the season. I think most people now recognize that he is that level of player, even though, again, some people were for some reason shocked when all these NBA ranking lists had him like 6th through 8th or something like that going into the season. I thought that was just a given, that he's at least that level of player. But so far to start this season, not only has he been putting up 31 points, 14 boards with 5 blocks on 60% shooting. I can't even believe I just said those numbers out loud. But also the Spurs are 4-0, and they have looked really, really solid. Again, not the toughest schedule. It's the Mavs, the Pelicans, the Nets, and the Raptors. Like, there is going to be a lot tougher competition coming down the line. But so far, they've dominated who they were supposed to. Wemby looks just unbelievable. He's committed more to being an interior scorer rather than that 3-point threat that we saw him more so as last season. He was putting up like 12, 15 threes a game. So far this year, the highest he shot in a game is 6, and last game against the Nets, not a single 3-point attempt. And like that shot is still very valuable. He's shooting 36% from the outside. Like that is absolutely still a weapon of his. But I think the Spurs are like, yeah, it doesn't matter how tall anybody else is on the other team. Just get the ball to Wemby down low or even let him create off the perimeter. And nobody's going to stop him from getting downhill because the handle is tighter. He's more physical. He is stronger. He definitely looks taller. I don't think they were lying when they upped his measurements in the offseason. This is the most dominant player at this age that we have ever seen. And I don't even know if that's really a conversation. We talk about GOAT debates. Like, Wemby keeps up on this progression, or even if he just stays at this level and continues to get more help, he's going to put himself in those conversations if he's healthy. Like, Derrick Rose's youngest MVP award, I think, is in real jeopardy if the Spurs get anywhere close to a top 4 seed and Wemby is putting up these numbers in this Western Conference. We knew he was going to be good, but I can't believe he's this good this early. And it feels somewhat sustainable that he can average a really efficient, like just around 30 points per game with 14 boards and like 4 blocks. That doesn't feel unrealistic. And then we get to my MVP pick preseason, and that is Shai. And again, we get to just a ridiculous case for him early in the season. The Thunder, 5-0, only team to be undefeated with 5 wins. And the Thunder have been super injured, like no Jalen Williams so far at all this season. Caruso's missed a couple of games. Casey Wallace missed a game. Chet Holmgren missed last game against the Kings. Kenrich Williams hasn't played. Isaiah Joe hasn't played. Nikola Jokic hasn't played. Like, the Thunder are missing a good number of guys, and Shai is still leading them to an undefeated record with 35 points per game on 52% shooting, 6 boards, 5.5 assists with 1.5 steals and blocks, while by far leading the NBA in clutch points so far. Like, clutch player of the year is clearly Shai at this moment. Hit that huge 3 to go ahead and seal the game against the Kings. Shai's taken it up somehow another level. Like, he's looked better defensively, I think, to start the season than he did last year. The offense, he's just unguardable. Like, he's not even getting free throws. People talk about the free throw thing. He has shot like basically no free throws the last 3 games. After the first 2, he got a good number of them. He's just finding ways to still finish at the rim, fight through contact, hit the mid-range jumper every single time he gets that opportunity. It is crazy the stuff that Shai can do and the way that he can elevate this team that is also shooting the worst 3-point percentage in the league, and yet the offense is still survivable, partially because of the defense, which Shai is part of, but also because he's just generating buckets at an unbelievable rate. So yeah, Shai, Giannis, Wemby, in my opinion, are like the top 3 right now in some order for MVP. You can decide amongst yourselves, but there's still also Jokic, who has not put up like the gaudy numbers that we're typically used to for Jokic, which is absurd to say for a guy who is averaging 20, 15 and a half, and 12 assists. Like a 20, 15, and 12 triple-double with 2 steals on great efficiency. Those are inhuman numbers, but so far he's more so deferred to like Aaron Gordon and Jamal Murray, both of whom have been fantastic to start this season. But I do think if Jokic takes on a little bit more of a scoring burden, averages another triple-double, and the Nuggets are one of the top seeds, it is impossible to not once again consider him in this conversation. And then I do want to talk about Luka Doncic, who missed the last 2 games with injuries, probably going to miss at least a couple more, but the first 2 games of the season were just too ridiculous for me not to mention him. 46 points, 62% shooting with right under 12 rebounds and 8.5 assists per game. He put up 49, 11, and 8, 43, 12, and 9. Against 2 pretty good defensive teams in the Timberwolves and the Warriors without LeBron James. Like, Luka, he looked like the best version of himself in those first 2 games. And if LeBron continues to miss time and the Lakers can still find a way to rack up some wins and push towards a top 4 seed, like, that was kind of my holdback, is can the Lakers win enough games? And I still do question that, but if Luka's putting up those ridiculous numbers, if Austin Reeves keeps playing the way that he has in Luka's absence, he's been amazing as well, then I think Luka can force himself into that conversation. At the very least, he might not win it, but he's going to make it at least a 5-man race. And there are others like Tyrese Maxey, who I talked about in the Sixers video. He's been unbelievable, but I don't think ultimately he's going to quite keep up the production to the same level that I kind of expected for like Shai and Wemby and Jokic and those guys and Giannis. But I mean, maybe he does. Maybe Maxey is taking that MVP leap and we just don't know it yet. But at the very least, I mean, he's been all NBA first, second team caliber type of player so far for the Sixers. Like, Brunson's been fantastic. Donovan Mitchell is averaging over 30. I just talked about Austin Reeves. He's been insane. Like, there has just been a ridiculous level of play from the top stars in the league so far this season, but specifically Shai, Giannis, Jokic, Wemby, and Luka. Like, those 5 guys, to me, those are the 5 best players, not in that order necessarily, but those are the top 5 players in the NBA at the moment. If you ask me, you know, we could talk about Anthony Edwards making that a conversation, or Jason Tatum when he gets back and healthy, but for the moment, those are the 5. And to think about, like, the fact that you have Shai, one of the best scoring guards ever, who just like had one of the best guard seasons ever and seems to be leveling up. You've got Jokic, one of the best bigs ever. Giannis, one of the best power forwards ever. Wemby, who might go down as the greatest player to ever play the game and is starting to really rise to that all-time level production this season. And then you've got Luka Doncic, who is also one of the all-time great, like, he's already a Hall of Famer this early in his career, and it feels like he's getting more in shape, that this could be the start of a new peak for him. Like, the fact that those guys all exist in the NBA right now when it's all said and done and we look back at this season and going forward, because I do expect that top 5 to remain somewhat consistent. Like, we're just going to be like, oh my God, I can't believe this level of talent was all in the NBA at the same exact time. Like we think about some other periods with all these all-time greats. Like this top 5 is easily one of the most talented top 5s, one of the most dominant top 5s we've ever seen in basketball. And that's going to lead to, in my opinion, this crazy MVP race. As long as the Spurs can keep up winning games, the Bucks can surprise people, if the Lakers can kind of get some momentum going, I expect the Thunder and Nuggets to finish with a lot of wins. But as long as the team success continues for like Wemby and Giannis, this is going to be a ridiculously heated race that could come down to the end, and we either see Giannis erase all the narratives and win MVP, leading the Bucks to one of their top seeds that we've seen in a while. We see Jokic adding another one to his trophy case. This would be number 4 for him. Shai going back-to-back when a lot of people thought he couldn't, potentially trying to get back-to-back MVPs and Finals MVPs. Luka, after being traded, like that would be a crazy narrative. Or Wemby becomes the youngest MVP ever, also grabs his first depoy. And the ascent to all-time great, maybe even GOAT status, begins even earlier than I think some people expected. No matter who wins the award, there's such a big narrative, a big legacy boost that comes with that. I'm so excited to watch this play out. I know it's very early to be talking about the MVP race and award races in general, but I've just been enjoying the level of play from these types of guys so much to start the season. Like really in general, there are very few, if any, teams I've not enjoyed watching quite a bit to start this season. Basketball has never been in a better spot. It's been a ton of fun. I appreciate all support on the channel here to start the season. But yeah, those are kind of just my thoughts, some ramblings about these players. So let me know down below in the comments, if you had to predict it right now, who's going to win MVP at the end of the season? Who is your current pick for MVP? Again, I know it's early, but just play along. And who have you been most impressed with? Because I am going to drop a video here in a couple of days that is, I think, like my 5 or 6 or so most impressive and disappointing players to begin the season. So would love to hear what kind of players would fit those categories for y'all. But yeah, leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos. And yeah, appreciate you watching. I'll see y'all later. Real one, say back.